Hi, this is Doug Bradley, owner of OrangeCountyLawyers.com. And today I'm here with attorney Paul Nguyen, who practices personal injury law throughout Orange County from his office in Santa Ana. Paul, thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, Doug.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today, and we'll have some more specific questions here in a moment, but I usually like to get started with finding out how you got interested in law and how you found yourself becoming a lawyer.
I think I've always been interested in law, but I guess years ago I was running a business, a very successful business, a healthcare company, working with the government, sort of like, and I don't know. I got to a point in my life where I was making good money, but I did not find purpose,
Mm-hmm.
and so I felt like law was kind of my calling. So while I was working full time during the daytime, I went to law school at night.
Mm-hmm.
It was tough. It was a tough 4 years, but I got through it.
Yeah, I can imagine. And one of the common themes that I've found throughout talking with so many attorneys recently doing these interviews is that they often find that they started in one profession. If they didn't know right out of the gate that they wanted to be a lawyer, they often found very soon after becoming what they studied to be, or whatever they were doing, a different calling.
Hmm.
And so that seems to be a common theme. Can you tell me a little bit about your practice and what it is that you focus on?
Sure. Well, my firm is called Shield Litigation, and we focus primarily on personal injury. Um, because I started out as a criminal defense attorney, we still have a small number of clients which we serve for that, but primarily our main focus right now is personal injury, auto accidents, pedestrian accidents,
Hmm.
and premises liability, where people are hurt in businesses or government property.
Okay. Um, what are and you mentioned a wide variety of cases. What would you say
Mhm.
is kind of the most common cases that come to you?
Well, the most common case is, your average auto accident,
Hmm.
fender bender, rear end, or, sometimes we have interesting cases where it's a head-on, things like that. But primarily, it's just your common everyday auto accident.
Okay. And when you're talking to a new client or a potential new client for the first time, and maybe that person has never even hired an attorney in their life, or maybe they don't know attorneys and they really don't know how they operate, especially in the personal injury world because it's a little different than other areas of practice. What are some of the most common questions or concerns that a new client might have for you?
Well, most of my clients are actually, they've never hired an attorney.
Hmm.
So one of the questions they ask is how much do they have to pay out of pocket?
Hmm.
What happens if they lose the case? And, you know, basically they're just afraid that it's going to cost them, money because they're kind of intimidated by the insurance company on the other side.
Hmm. And you touched on something which is a pretty common question in terms of questions that I hear a lot of the time is how much does it cost? And for personal injury law, I know that relates a lot back to the contingency fee arrangement. How does that typically work with you? What is a contingency fee, and how does that work? Does the client have to pay anything up front? What's the responsibility of the client if they lose? Can you just give us an overview of how that works for you?
Sure. Well, in my firm, we only take cases we're confident about, and if we take your case, we will back it up, with our own pocketbook.
Hmm.
So we will front all the money, all the cost, getting reports, hiring the experts, hiring investigators. Um, and the only time the client really ever pays is if we're able to recover money. And if we're able to recover money, it depends on what stage we're at. So it could be one third for pre-litigation, or post-litigation. It could be 40 or 45% of the total recovery, and we recover our costs at that time.
Hmm.
Um, we've never had it happen, but let's say we lost the case,
Hmm.
or we're unable to recover any money. then whatever money that we extended in the beginning, we'll waive.
Mm.
We'll waive. So it gives the client confidence, when we take their case that, we kind of have our money, in there also.
Yeah, I think that's probably something a lot of people don't really understand so much is that even though they don't have to pay anything out of pocket, and they think that it's kind of like a free thing for you, but it's not. What are in terms of cost of the case when you take on a case, what are some of the things that out of pocket costs? I know like hiring professionals, expert witnesses, things like that
Mm.
come into play. But what are some of the things that you spend actual capital on to litigate a personal injury claim?
Sure. Depositions. So, so in most cases that we litigate, we have to, do a deposition on the other side. We
Hmm.
have to hire court reporters, conference rooms. Um, if we want a video deposition, then a videographer.
Hmm.
So a lot of money has to be spent up front. We have to pay for the transcript, and sometimes we have to pay for the witness travel cost.
Hmm. Yeah. So I mean, it's a considerable amount up front before you see any return,
Hmm.
and so I think a lot of people need to understand that, every case, like you said, you have to be confident that you're going to be successful for your client. Otherwise, you're putting in a lot of money if that case is
Absolutely.
not going
And
to.
time.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
time. Yeah, time. Absolutely. Um, one of the questions I often like to ask, and is sometimes a little more difficult to answer, is what would you say differentiates you from your competitors? What's different about your firm or you personally? Anything that really specifically talks about you and the personality of your firm that somebody watching this, might want to know.
Well, well, I guess our firm is different in several aspects. One is I guess starting with my family. They're refugees. They
Hmm.
came over here with nothing. So when I see somebody, particularly an immigrant, who
Hmm.
needs help and has nowhere to go, I feel for them,
Hmm.
because I feel like, what if it was my family?
Right.
So I really do the best I can to help them out. And another thing that differentiates our firm is, I used to do criminal defense, and basically I fought against, the most powerful entity in the world, the
Hmm.
United States government, you
Right.
know, and it takes a lot of guts to fight them, and it takes a lot of patience, but I've always been that type of person. I will fight for the underdog,
Hmm.
and it's not about making a dollar. It's because if I wanted to make money, this wouldn't be what I would do, you know. I really do want to help people and get justice. And I feel like a lot of people are intimidated by the insurance companies. You know.
Yeah, well, they're large corporations with a seemingly endless pocketbook and an army of attorneys
Yeah.
and claims adjusters who've been trained for years on what to say, when to say it, and how to ask questions.
Hmm.
And you're going up against somebody who may have only had one accident or two or a couple in their lifetime, and if there's an injury involved, it can become pretty dangerous to start answering questions from the insurance claim
Absolutely.
adjuster. Right, right.
Absolutely.
Now you're in Santa Ana.
Hmm.
What kind of geography do you cover? Do you typically I mean, obviously mostly Orange County, or is it a broad range?
Well, our primary client base is out of Orange County,
Mm-hmm.
but we've covered cases, as far as Northern California, up in Concord, or down in San Diego. So we can basically work anywhere in California,
Mm-hmm.
but primarily our clients do come into the office and in our Santa Ana office in Orange County. So that's where the majority of our cases come from.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I'd like to thank you for your time. And in closing, if you'd like more information about Attorney Paul Nguyen or Shield litigation in Santa Ana or his practice, go to caraccidentlawOC.com. I'll put the link in the description of this video so you can click right over to that. You can also call him directly at 714 728 3385. Or, of course, you can go to orangecountylawyers.com and search for Paul Nguyen. Again, the links to his website and orangecountylawyers.com are in the description of this video. And Paul, thank you again so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and you have a good day.
You too, Doug.
Thanks.
Thank you.